Recording in progress.
Sounds official.
So who are you?
That's a really good question. So as you can see, nope, right here, that's me. I'm Kyle DePew. I've trained with Alan Fisher since I was 14 years old, 13 years old, whatever you want to say. I've been in the sport a long time. I have not always been active in the sport. I took 2.5 years away from the sport, competed once during that time, just for fun to impress my girlfriend at the time. And then I came back officially at 19 years old after I had trained significantly for firefighting. I was running 3 to 10 miles every day, doing crazy amounts of calisthenics. I weighed about 150 pounds, but when I came back to the sport of arm wrestling, I only weighed 140 pounds. And immediately I could beat most people I'd ripped up with.
That's great.
So I was at the age of 19 and 140 pounds, I was probably one of the strongest people for my body weight. I had no injuries. I had completely seemingly recovered from the carpal tunnel and tendonitis I had in my shoulders, elbows, and wrists. Since coming back, I am considerably stronger, bigger, smarter, faster, but very injury prone. I seem to get injured almost every tournament, and I love it. That's just a nature of the sport, you know?
Yeah.
I'm glad you're big and strong now, but the important question is, did you impress the girl? Did it work?
I mean, she was my girlfriend. I didn't need to impress her, but it was cool. I think I got a lot of fun out of it. I was pulling in the pro class, actually. It was my first time pulling pro class, and I think I was only 18 years old. I was at the LA Fit Expo, and I had a great match with Bob Brown, and that was like not arm wrestling for 1.5 years. And I nearly beat Bob outside the straps, and I think we got into the straps. I held him for a bit, and then there was just no coming back. So I just, you know, it was done. And then I beat someone left-handed. I don't remember who else I lost to. The only memorable moment was pulling Bob Brown and then hanging out with my girlfriend at the LA Fit Expo.
And you pull at what weight now?
See, I'm actually very close to just going to supers. My weight influxes so drastically. I go up and down. Right now, I'm at 209. It's hard. I'm very hungry. I've had a lot of health issues since February. I was anemic, and I had some real bad nerve damage in the left elbow, some slight nerve pain in the right shoulder tendon. That was making it really hard for me to do anything in life. It healed, thankfully. And now I'm actually just dealing with I'm overcoming some stuff I had in the summer. I had gotten what I believe was COVID, but I don't know for sure. And then I got something in my lungs where I had a lot of lung pain for a while. I didn't go to a doctor. I eventually did go to a doctor, but they haven't been able to tell me much. I only went once. I think I might have to have my tonsils removed. I have a lot of swelling in my throat, and I get pain in my lymph nodes, like in my groin, armpit, throat. A lot of this stuff I don't want to really have aired until after these super matches, because they don't hold me back by any means. My strength and my endurance is still the strongest it's ever been. But these affect my day-to-day life more than anything. Like sometimes I'll have an episode where I'm having difficulty breathing.
Yeah.
But I've never felt stronger on the table. I actually pulled for 14 days straight after IFA, and I went to IFA in a considerable amount of pain. Like mentally, I was destroyed. My pain levels was high, and I was just like, all right, this is what I trained the last 2 years of my life for. I have to go. I mean, this is what it was all for.
Right.
I ended up having a great showing on the final day, fresh against Danny Gillian. I won. And then I pulled for 14 days after that. Pretty much every day, if I wasn't pulling, I was going to the gym and working forearms. Then I took maybe a week or half a week off, started pulling again. And then randomly, I got sponsored to go to this event. So as much as the last couple months were hard for me, I have never felt this strong. My strength and my endurance is really good. So I'm happy that I got sponsored, and I can't wait to prove to the world that I can beat Matt Craig and Niles Anderson.
Well, if that's really you in the background there with white hat on backwards, I think you look remarkably like RVJ.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm a bit smaller than RVJ. I'm about 5'10". RVJ is probably 6 foot. I would assume.
No, I'm really just looking at the facial features and whatever. I mean, I don't know if the other gents agree with me on that, but
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Dave, you look like Tom Cruise.
yeah, well, that too. He looks closer to RVJ than I do.
You guys all look like Tom Cruise, actually.
That's the look we're going for. So how about the sponsorship? How'd that come about for you?
So randomly, they were just all saying that I had to go to the event and they wanted to pay for it.
Yeah.
I had like 3 people who really wanted me to go, I believe. And then Austin and David were offering to give me money. And then David ended up buying my flight, hotel. He said he would cover my food, winter bonus. So I was like, all right, that's something I cannot say no to. Thank you very much.
That's awesome, man.
So I get my food covered, hotel covered, flights covered, and it's a flight from San Diego. I don't have to drive 110 miles to go to the airport, which is nice.
Right.
And I have a chauffeur, Austin Jennings. I'll be staying with him one of the nights and working out with him, hanging out with him. He'll be chauffeuring me around, and then I make money if I win the matches.
That's great. Well, good luck, man.
Thank you.
That's cool.
Work with Austin on his table slap. He's
Yeah.
He's got to get more of the pad when he slaps the table. Man, work on him with that.
He's new to the sport. That table slap will improve with time. It will.
He arm wrestled pretty good. His table slap needed work though. He did a good job.
My table slaps, because I used to pull in the amateurs at 14 and 15, and I would beat some of the best in North America that came up from the West Coast.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever beat Dallas, but I got close to beating Dallas. I may have pinned him once. Dallas seems to think so. I don't think so. I think he just remembers it wrong. But I slap the hell out of the table. Whenever I'm pulling this big guy, or when I was a kid and I do something cool and I'm 14, 15, I just go, bah, 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 bah. You just live in the moment, which is, as a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old, I mean, those were great moments.
Yeah. That's cool. Cool experience for a teenager.
Yeah. I've always suffered from very severe anxiety.
Yeah.
But arm wrestling has always helped me overcome anxiety. I've had some of the greatest moments of my life on the arm wrestling table, and I appreciate what it's done for me.
It's funny. A lot of people with anxiety have said that about arm wrestling because they kind of have to overcome it because you got to go up there in front of people and perform, and it helps,
Yeah.
It's like cool. People that stutter that are really good at singing. It's kind of their place they can escape the anxiety and get over it.
It really isn't even just the anxiety. It struck me, and this is all anecdotal, but it just struck me that I think that probably the percentage of pullers who are recovering from something is higher than the general population. It seems like you run into lots of people either have former, drug history or alcohol history or various addictions, and basically are using this as a major help in keeping from falling back into that.
Yeah, I mean, any hobby really is good to keep people's mind off something like that, I guess. Mm-hmm. Why not arm wrestling?
I agree.
It's such an extent that I often wonder if the various rehabilitation programs do or should incorporate more physical activity into their programs for keeping people out of trouble.
Yeah.
An interesting thing I would love to discuss with you guys is I'm an arm wrestling head coach at a high school. I haven't worked a day yet on the job as of now, but I was the assistant coach for the arm wrestling team for this particular high school for 3 years. I was not very active my last 2 years as the assistant coach, but I was an athlete as a freshman on the high school team. It was not the high school I went to. And then I was the assistant coach for 3 years.
Yeah. Now, is this a public school or a private school?
It's a public school.
And I'm just surprised at that with
I went to a charter high school, but I was invited to come onto the arm wrestling team, which was a
Well,
public school.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that a public school would have that, given, I mean, I'm in academia myself. I'm teaching in a couple of community colleges, but so much of high school activities have really been wussified. And I'm really kind of surprised that a public school system, which is probably also, renamed, tug of war, tug of peace, and yes, some of them are actually doing that, would have in effect, a combat sport. I mean, I'm very happy that they are, but I'm just somewhat surprised.
It's been very great for the school.
Yeah. That's great for the sport too.
It's helped a lot of kids. It has.
Yeah.
I'm honored that I'm going to become the head coach. I think it's going to get very big with me as the head coach. I plan on getting the roster above 50 before the end of the year, hopefully above 20 within the first couple of weeks. I'll get sponsored jackets. I want to get every local team to come visit. I think there's a lot of good that can be done at this high school, and I don't plan to just do it there. I'm already talking with the rest of the school district to do the same thing at multiple high schools at the exact same time, have 3 different ones during the week, have them meet up once a month and have a mock tournament,
Yeah.
and then do a big tournament once a year or twice a year.
Smart.
Is this
great.
program just getting started now, or has this been going for a while?
It's pretty new in terms of the other school districts being involved. I've just slightly put it off because I got sponsored to go to Texas to raise money for kids with special needs. However, I got the job. I mean, I just have to fill out the rest of my paperwork.
No,
I am working at a public school.
I'm really surprised, gratified, but
Mhm.
really surprised that somebody at the high school level is doing this.
Yeah.
Oh no. So the people that you would go to, from my understanding, if you were to want to do it, which probably, is you would want to go speak to the athletic director of a school. He connects you with the principal or the director of the school, and then you just go from there.
Right.
That's great. I'd love to
Yeah.
do something like that around here.
I think
Just
you
to
would
help
be
grow
great
the
for
sport,
it.
Yeah.
Well, my plan is to not just do it, but to encourage everyone to do it.
Yeah.
This is a huge momentum thing I would like to create. I plan, because a lot of people say you can't do it, it can't be done. I've never had a bad experience when talking to people about arm wrestling, since maybe when I was 13, but since the age of 14, no one has doubted me as an athlete. No one, every girl, every guy, every kid I've ever spoke to about arm wrestling has thought it was the coolest thing in the world, or at least they made it seem like they did. I mean, I've always got nothing but support. I had strangers come up to me when I wear arm wrestling t-shirts and tell me about how they used to arm wrestle 10 years ago.
Right.
Like I've never faced certain things other people have faced. So I'm very optimistic about the sport and what I think is possible.
Yeah.
And I think anything someone says is improbable. They're just not willing to do themselves. So
Right.
I plan to do it, and I plan to do it really well, document it, and then I would like for every state to start doing it.
Yeah.
And that certainly would have the advantage that if we can get something like a feeder program like this started, we might be able to avoid getting our asses handed to us by the Georgians and Armenians, at the world tournaments.
Well, we would take over. We just need one person that could write the book on arm wrestling, write the curriculum on arm wrestling, who is the most expert of experts in fighting, combating this European arm wrestling. And all of a sudden, every high school in North America has an arm wrestling club and an arm wrestling team that trains specifically for arm wrestling. So you have 2 things. You have a club where people just arm wrestle, and then you have a team where everyone's like, you have your JV, your varsity, etc. Right? Varsity is a full-blown training squad that does like elite movements and training exercises, and is going to travel to the Zalati by the time they're 18, right? So there's endless opportunity with the concept. And the thing that we have is North America is a lot more connected than the rest of Europe. Even though you can go anywhere in Europe, the ability to connect things together through social media, I mean, we have everything we need right now. It's just the fact that we aren't doing it. So we could see a huge shift in the next 5 years. North America could dominate every single weight class. I actually find it interesting because the supers is actually easier to break into than the other classes, because the other classes, the arm wrestlers don't want to pull you for super matches. And there's about 20 guys that could break into the top 20 at least. The supers, I mean,
Yeah.
it's easier to break into because those guys will actually super match, and you have outliers that come up all the time, 18 to 30-year-olds that are just strong and that could fight like the top 10, right?
That's me.
And then in the other weight classes, you have 20 guys that could fight the top 20,
Right.
but those matches aren't happening.
Right.
So it's actually easier to get into the supers if you're really good at arm wrestling. You got to be really good, really strong. But if you try to break into the top 20 as a lightweight, good luck.
Yeah.
Those lightweights,
Stacked.
they don't do super matches.
No.
They don't do super matches. There's no events that are bid that are catering to them. So I don't know.
We've been fortunate up here because we cater to the 98. Like our lightweight divisions, when we have a tournament, are stacked. And our amateur divisions.
But how often do you have a ranked guy competing in that class so they can snatch the ranking?
My first tournament back, I pulled Black Ice. He right now is ranked. So.
Who's ranked?
Yeah, Black Ice is ranked. So I should make a comment. That class is actually some of those guys do pull often.
Yeah. Because we have our next tournament, we have some guys coming down from New Hampshire, and they're gunning for the ranked guys. So now like Black Ice and like Palco, all these guys are coming because they know like there's a good group of them that are coming that are ranked. So that could change some things. And luckily they're all coming to our tournament. So
yeah, that's going to be a pretty stacked lightweight.
There's going to be a day, and it might be that day.
Yeah.
There's going to be a day where the rankings are just going to drastically switch.
Yeah.
And the Olympia should have been that day. The fact that the Olympia was only promoted for 3 days, really, like if we're talking an actual promotion, that was only like
it wasn't very long,
maybe 4 days. They didn't want people to show up, in my opinion. They wanted the best to show up. They wanted the very best to be there. And then they wanted great television. So I love the Olympia. I wasn't there, but I'm so glad it happened. That's one of the greatest things that could have happened for our sport. However, I wish their priority would have been on attendance, because if it was, we could have saw the rankings completely change. We could have had 1,000 entries. Like the fact that they had all that resources and they chose not to, it hurts me, because I know Alan Fisher would have won. I know he would have, but I wanted everyone to be there.
Yeah. Right.
And Alan worked hard for that win. He beat Hunter. He beat Adam Wilmot. However, why was everyone not there? I mean, I wanted Voskin, Jamie Sheldon. I wanted everyone in that class, right?
Right.
But when you give people 3 days notice, there's not going to be a lot.
I know. I didn't there were so many people that comment and they're like, I didn't even know this was happening. Well, and it's like, that's not good, really. I don't think
I got wind of it early, but it was the Cohen guy that everyone said was suspect. You never know if it's going to happen or not. So everybody was waiting until last minute to kind of confirm that it was going down. But I heard wind of it a while ago, but it was everybody thought it was fake.
Yeah.
I think bringing Marvin Cohen in was a very strategic thing that television agency did.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the event. I'm not going to act like I do. Plus, I also don't want bad PR. But what I'm comfortable saying is this: the focus was definitely television.
Yeah.
The people who won deserved to win. Obviously, Dave Chafee's the number one.
Yeah.
Obviously, Alan Fisher's the number one. I've known Alan Fisher could beat anyone in North America for a while. He's night and day when you actually give him an incentive to train, because the man works relentlessly. When he has something he can train for, he's a lot stronger. And this is what that was, right? He showed up. Were there other guys that gave him great matches? I'm sure. I heard Hunter and him had a great match. That's what I heard. But what I wish would have happened is stacked classes. Like we could have had 20 plus every class, and I heard it was only about 10 a class.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. We'll find out when the TV airs, but
right. Yeah, it's hard with that kind of situation because you want to see stacked classes. Just
I wanted the event to last 2 days.
Right.
I didn't want that to be a one and done, try to run it quick. I mean, they should have made that like the over the top.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
You do not need a lot of money to run a good event.
No, we've done it. We've done it with nothing.
Yeah.
No, but
our first event, we had what, 87 people
87 people, 179 entries.
for like a first local event. I didn't think that was too bad for our first, like,
No, that's not bad at all.
for a local thing. So hopefully our next one will be bigger because we're going to kind of advertise it as our like big one for the year,
Definitely.
But
what they've added over here, and I'm wondering if you're considering the same thing out in the West Coast, is they've been adding a semi-pro class.
I am thinking about that actually. So I'm not planning on doing a big tournament myself. I do want to help people do tournaments, but if I were to run a tournament, I would probably do something that is not the norm. I would do a very weird format, or I'll just throw a regular tournament on Queen of Cali. But if I do a regular tournament, I think I want to do something like this, where it costs maybe about $50 an entry to get in, and the prize money doesn't even have to be that high, but you cater to what people truly want. I mean, people don't want prize money as much as they want nice awards. They want nice awards. They want to feel recognized for their achievement, and they also want the classes to make sense. So you do a novice class with a couple weight classes, and then you do an amateur class with all the weight classes. Then you do your semi-pro class with all the weight classes. And then you do your advertised pro class where it's an invitational only. Everyone buys in, huge prize pot, and people are coming to the event to watch that pro class. The semi-pro class offers money. That's why you call it pro. It's not open. It's semi-pro. Anyone could enter it, right? But you have the amateur class and you have the novice class. You could make a substantial amount of money and still give people what they want. If anyone tells you it's a cash grab, then they're lame, because that's what people complain about. They complain there's not a novice class. They complain they don't have a good class where not as many of the elite pros compete in. Like, if I were to do that, I'd be giving people exactly what they want. They would still complain.
Yeah,
but I could make a lot of money doing it, and I could make a good event. So if I do a big tournament, I might do that.
Yeah. Well, like James Reed and Paul Lynn threw the semi-pro class in Keystones this year, which made everybody basically pull two classes. Like novice guys pulled novice and one up to amateur. An amateur pulled amateur and one up to semi-pro, and semi-pro guys pulled semi-pro and pro. So they actually got more entries, and all the classes were still stacked, and it was a great time. But I thought that was genius to throw that in there. And we actually might do it because he's trying to push everyone in the Northeast now to do it, so that we're all kind of doing the same thing. So that, if people are competing at our tournaments, like, we could almost have like a big end of year thing and, have some kind of rankings in the Northeast.
You don't even have to pay for the semi-pro class. It's the name alone. So it's up to you guys. However, add the pro class, add the invitational, make them pay like money to be in the class, big money, right? Like $100, $250, all of the money goes back to the winner or the first top two, top three. They'll get excited, I think, to be on it just because that's the big televised, the big live stream that you're advertising, and they're willing to pay it because that's like a bet on a sponsor, a bet on a super match.
Right.
Yeah, they have not gone with the invitational part of it, but there actually are 3 tournaments within the next 5 weeks who are using that format. Otherwise, the Virginia states, the New York states, and New England's.
I'm very unfamiliar with the rest of tournaments. I will say that. I need to get on the board and I need to start researching. I've just been very busy. I've been prioritizing my own health,
right,
and trying to just get stuff done. I've had a lot of stress and stuff that I've had to take care of financially.
Well, while you're driving around,
have a lot of money. What's that?
While you're driving around, you could turn on Shell's podcast, and you can update you on all the Northeast biz.
I'll need to do that.
Now,
podcasts are like the best thing in the world, honestly.
Oh yeah, anyone can have one if you really want one,
Yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
just, what are you going to do to make yours different from what everybody else is doing?
Yeah.
But, your idea is great, but what that's going to take is you to do it and it to be successful. And then everybody will follow suit probably. You know what I mean?
Someone has to do it.
Someone has
I'd
to be the
rather
first
not do it
guy.
first.
Right.
If I plan it so far ahead, then someone's bound to do it before me. And then I have a higher probability of being successful.
Just throw the idea at someone that would steal your idea.
I've been throwing that idea at everyone.
Let them do it first.
For over a month now, I've been telling people about that idea. I actually got that idea from an older fella arm wrestler from the West Coast who was trying to get me to do it. I had somewhat had the idea prior, but the way he explained it was really, really good. So the way I explain it is probably similar to the way he explained it.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea, and I'd like to see how something like that turns out,
I don't think it's that hard. You're basically just combining formats.
Yeah.
Do tournaments have a novice class? Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Do they have amateur and pro? Does the amateur and pro sometimes not pay, or does it sometimes only pay a little bit? Yes. Do they do a round robin buy-in type event? Yes. Does it even have to be a round robin? No, it could just be a bracket. Boom. It's pretty easy.
Right.
It's just the marketing behind it that might confuse people.
Yeah. Because, some tournaments wait till the end, and then they're like, they either do some kind of round robin or king of the table type thing anyway. So it's like, why not put that as part of the tournament and advertise it as such?
Well, the way to do it, I think, is no super matches. Just have that buy-in. You invite the people, or you put up a post calling people out. You get people excited for it, and then you structure the tournament around it.
Yeah.
So
I'd say it'd be smart
I'd love to
just
see.
Invite everybody you can, quietly, and then once you get the people that say yes, then you can start advertising who's in your tournament and how big it's going to be.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it too.
It'd be interesting to see someone do it.
Honestly, Josh, I don't know which one's better. The first one might get you more social media attention if you have a good following, but the second one is definitely more professional.
Yeah.
And the more professional one's probably it's gonna go over better in terms of getting people to actually commit.
Yeah. And I think even if you could do a little bit of both, where you get a handful of guys that are going to commit, and hey, we already got this many. We could kind of do it for the lightweight guys that are all coming. It's already kind of happened that way.
Let's do the 125
see if 5
pound
of us light guys will do it. Yeah, and then see 154. We're a little bigger up here in the Northeast.
No, 125. I need you to get every 125er. Do something impossible. Do supers alongside 125. Make the 125 like the undercard event to a super heavyweight pro card.
We could.
Had enough guys, that'd be impressive.
There is a lot of 125ers out of Texas.
I know it. Down south, it seems like they're all down there, man.
Yeah.
There's a handful of lighter guys up here.
I haven't weighed 125 since I was in 7th grade.
Right.
But I love the 125 guys. Those guys have more heart than most arm
Oh,
wrestlers.
dude, they get amped up too.
Oh yeah, they got way more heart, way more energy. I mean, I think the future is actually making people care about the classes that they currently don't care about.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I think it happened in boxing. I think it could happen in arm wrestling too. Because forever it was all about the super heavy, the heavyweight guys, and and then we had a lot of the lighter weight guys kind of get more exciting.
Absolutely.
Because for real, after Tyson, the heavyweight guys kind of got boring for a while.
Absolutely.
So you've met a couple of our 98 percenters up this way.
I have. I mean, Roger's a good friend of mine. He's extended a welcome for me to come stay with him if I want to. Financially, I have no money. I ruined myself when I had anemia and I was getting vitamin IVs. So I only go places where I'm sponsored for now. Once I get back on my feet, I'll start traveling anywhere I want to. I have people I can stay with. In that area, I don't really have people I can stay with, but Roger's a good friend, so I would probably stay with him. I'd love to come out to one of your events, and I'm sure I will in the future for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes, we get a couple extra sponsors that we didn't plan on, and then that's what we use that money for, like fly someone out that normally wouldn't come to our tournament.
You see, and I am definitely not elite. So
Yeah.
if you were to sponsor someone who's in the 98,
That's right.
I would definitely be grateful.
All right. Yeah, absolutely, dude. That would
Uh,
be cool. But to me, that's cool to have guys come that are like in the 98 anyway, like,
yeah.
'cause
I mean,
some people
I
give us
definitely
some
have
crap.
the power to promote you guys in the West Coast.
Yeah.
So that'd be fun. I mean, if you give me enough time, I could do something to where I went to every local practice and talked about an event, try to get them to go. For this upcoming event, I only had like less than a week's notice, really. I mean, it was like
Right.
8 days, 9 days notice.
Yeah.
It was very last minute, but I'm trying to do the most I can. And I would actually like to plug my GoFundMe. I don't have the link with me right now, but maybe we can put it in the description.
Absolutely.
I'm raising money for the kids. All the money goes to the charity
Mm-hmm.
that Polling for Special Kids raises money for.
Okay.
The live stream will be plugged on Michael Todd's YouTube channel. I got confirmation of that. However, I would like to get it to at least $1,000 before the actual event, because I think
Okay.
whatever you get it to, you're likely to double that at the event.
Yeah.
So my goal would be to get at least 5,000. I would like to have some responsibility for raising money for this event. I appreciate the fact that Paul wanted me to be on the card. I appreciate that David's sponsoring me. The only reason I do things like this is because I like to give back, and I also want to make things bigger than they would be, right? So the fact that someone wants me on a card that I probably shouldn't be on, I would like to make sure that there is at least factual evidence that I did something good for that event. If I didn't deserve to be on that card, which I'm sure some people will say, well, I raised this. So to me, it's a great cause. I'm honored. I mean, my whole mission in life right now in terms of arm wrestling is just to start an arm wrestling nonprofit. Maybe in 5 to 10 years, that solely the nonprofit would be responsible for sending like young adults, teenagers, and youth athletes to go compete in some of the most prestigious arm wrestling events of the world. I'm going to need a lot of years of experience before I really understand how to run something like that. So right now I'm giving myself that time. I mean, I'm going to start working the head coaching jobs. I'll make some money. I'll get experience.
Yeah.
But for now, for the upcoming weekend, I would like to raise money for those kids. So
Yeah.
that's my main focus until that event.
Well, the funny thing, it's ridiculous. Like when you throw a tournament, the amount of work that goes into it, like you just tripled your resume of what you can do, because it is a full-time job running tournaments and events and promoting, and like it's ridiculous the things you have to do. But it's cool because that really teaches you a lot of things that will come in handy in the future for what we do anyway.
One of the most enjoyable things, because I've always suffered with confidence issues. I got to the point before the event. I could probably do it now. It'd be harder to do it now because I haven't done it in a month, but I was going into local business and I would get on the phone with their manager or the owner of the company of that business within 5 minutes, pretty much everywhere I stepped foot into. And I would not take no for an answer. If they said, actually, I'm the person that's responsible for handling events and promotion, I would just weasel my way in there. And it was like, I would time it. 5 minutes, I'd get on a call with the owner of the company or the manager of the entire area. It was
That's great.
It was not that hard to do. So
Right.
That's something I enjoyed most leading up to the event, was the fact that I could do that, even though a lot of those things didn't really turn into physical money.
Yeah.
I made connections. I proved just how big the sport is to people that potentially want to get in on it with money.
Yeah. I think that's my favorite end of it, is trying to track down sponsors. And I mean, not everybody does something monetary. A lot of them will give you some product or some handles or stuff you can raffle, which I'm fine with that too, because it all adds up to having a better event, you know?
When I talk to these other people, I'm way crazier than I am in arm wrestling. Because as an arm wrestler, I want people who come into the sport to only have the best interest of the sport. So I set low expectations. I'm realistic. and I make it seem like this is something they should be proud to be a part of. Like this is a great brand awareness type thing for your company. So I am just kind of a little bit of a jerk with it. Like I just really push it, and I'm like, yeah, you're not going to get a lot of money out of this, but this is something you really should do for X, Y, and Z. And I press it and press it, and the amount of phone calls that I would get of people who are interested in throwing stuff at this, I would just ask for more because I didn't need them. I was really doing this for fun at that point. Like if someone wanted to give me X amount of money and only offer something, then I wouldn't take it. I'd only get the best out of everyone that is a non-arm wrestling entity, right?
Right.
And in return, I ended up having like no restaurants or no catering, just because I didn't want to pay anyone to cater. I wanted them to pay me just to be there.
Yeah.
And it almost worked out. I almost got a huge food sponsor to the event that was going to cover a lot of it. It ended up not working out because I only had like 2 days and they were not being clear. So I said, all right, I'm just not going to have food. Thanks anyway. So I just really, I did a hard sell on all these businesses, but in the end, I ended up securing a entire VIP area at a downtown club. It was one of the hottest downtown clubs of San Diego. My guys could come into the club. All they had to say to cut the 2-hour line was King of Cali, and they wouldn't even get carded.
Nice.
They walked right into the club, upstairs into the VIP area, and this was a crazy club. And everyone was allowed to trash the place and do whatever they wanted, and they couldn't be stopped. So that's what I'm most proud of in terms of my conversations that led to something that was actually very cool.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, that's cool, man.
I pat myself on the back for that one. I appreciate that. I forced myself to do something that way.
That's why I like talking to other guys that throw tournaments and stuff, because you learn a lot. You know, like everybody has a different way of doing things. So it's cool to see how you're doing things versus like the guys from like Texas. You know, it's fun to like compare notes, so to say.
I mean, I'm truly a very nice guy, but the sport has stressed me out a lot.
Yeah.
And in that stress, I have realized the type of person that I want to be from a business sense. And I don't handle arm wrestling like I handle business.
Right.
I handle arm wrestling like I'm handling family.
Yeah.
But if someone approaches me with business, I mean, I'm going to handle it like business because I'd rather them not come on if they're not going to truly respect the sport.
Right.
And that makes them aware of just the level of the sport, like what we are, what we're trying to be. I'll tell them straight up, like, this is not something you should think you can make a lot of money off of. Here is exactly how you'll make money off of it. I'll tell them the tournament format. This is how you have a profitable tournament, profitable event. This is how you take a financial risk to have something potentially a little better. Your return is lower.
Yeah.
I tell everyone the same thing. And I'll get on the phone with them. I'll be really realistic with them, but I don't undermine our sport. I mean, to me, I tell them this is the greatest sport in the world, in my opinion. And if you're going to be a part of it, there's stuff you have to be aware of.
Yeah.
You're not going to make money. You'll be lucky to make this amount of money if you throw a great event with people who know what they're doing.
Right.
So.
Yeah, which is true. The only thing that bothers me is, and I don't know if you run into this, but there's a lot of guys that preach that they want to grow the sport, that, you know, they want to make things like our sport blow up. But then the minute you ask them to do something, they're like, I need a ton of money to do that. And to me, it's like, all right, I understand you're at the level you're at, you put the work in, you got there, but not everyone can afford to pay you what you want to do these things. And if you really have the sports interest, like, go out to these things and spend a little of your time, donate a little of your time. I don't know. I just feel like if it was me,
that's why
I
you
would
don't go to
donate
those
more
guys,
time.
though.
That's what we do. We avoid them.
You go to someone else, right? So I respect those guys. And I actually, if someone tells me they want money for something, which doesn't happen often, but if they do, I make note of it. And I do want to make sure that arm wrestlers that I think deserve money get money.
Right.
Even if it takes time. Like if I have to plan something in the future, I mean, I planned King of Cali for 2 years in my head. I wrote it out on paper leading up to it. I was trying to figure out how to promote it even a year before. And then when Tom called out Derek, I knew that I had to reach out to Tom, and I had to secure that. Because everyone at that point was trying to get Tom to do an event, but I was the first person to reach out immediately when I saw the post, and Tom said, "I'm with you, nobody else. Let's go."
See, that's rare though, the loyalty. You know?
I had extreme loyalty from Tom.
That's great. Good for him.
But luckily, I mean, I've known Tom since I was young. So
yeah. That's good though. And that's the part that's rare is like someone might say, yeah, I'm coming to your tournament, but then someone throws one a week away and throws him some money. And now he's like, sorry, I can't make it to your tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Tom never backed out. Arm wrestlers back out all the time.
Oh yeah.
So
that's the scary part.
Yeah. That could have not happened without Tom. Tom's my hero.
Yeah.
He really is. I mean, he made my dream come true.
Yeah.
He really did. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. To me, arm wrestling is family because I'm a sentimental guy. However, I care about business. I care about my long-term goals. And my long-term goals is to not make money arm wrestling, but to make money in promotion.
Yeah.
I just want to use arm wrestling to keep myself happy. And I want to give back to the sport that's given me everything in life.
Right.
And the best way I can do that, I think, is if in 5 to 10 years, I start a successful arm wrestling nonprofit.
Right.
And I don't care if there's a lot of arm wrestling nonprofits. That's my goal. I'm going to start one. I hope there's one in every state. You know, I hope I can be the California exclusive, or I hope I can be the Southern Cali exclusive or something like that. Like, I don't want to have to do ideas that I think other people can do much better.
Right.
Because the ideas I have are not unique to me. I mean, everyone has good ideas and everyone has the ability to do it. So it's just about motivating those people to do it sometimes. Like the 98 needed no motivation from anyone else. They had ideas and they just did it.
Yeah.
And not everyone even knows about it, but they will, because you guys have silently took over. Like without the elite arm wrestlers knowing, the 98 somewhat controls North America arm wrestling. You have multiple people that run on social media who have very successful followings. I mean, the potential the 98 has to become such a dominant force in arm wrestling. I mean, you guys already are. So
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you.
We're trying. But you know, it's funny because like we don't think we are, because we don't realize, like sometimes someone will be like talking to us from a completely different state. And I'm like, my mind is blown that they even know who we are. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like we don't realize the reach that it has sometimes.
I realized it when I was at an event and all I saw was people from the 98.
Oh, really?
You know? Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty crazy how many of you guys are out there.
Yeah. And it's funny how it started, because like we started just doing these Zoom calls with a bunch of us. We weren't even 98 yet. And then all of us went to a tournament and we all happened to be there. And every time one of us was pulling, the whole crowd started chanting 98. And I turned to Josh and I was like, dude, we are onto something here. I was like, we can run with this. And then other people were like, what the hell's 98? They're like, are you guys a gang or what is this? And then we just made it happen from that point on. It just kind of like blew up. We started the Facebook group that next day. And like, it just happened organically. Like we didn't just like plan it, you know what I mean? Which is kind of cool. But
well, and what's remarkable is not it's certainly true how 98 started as 98, but actually the antecedent to that was Ryan Gron and his stupid band videos, where he was making these videos, whatever, that went viral. And
the most amazing videos ever made.
The worst arm wrestler in the world shtick.
That's debatable.
Yeah, and in fact, that's how he got his.
How can you be the worst when you're the best at being the worst?
Right.
You know,
it's a contradiction.
Yeah, it is.
Well, and even though that's kind of been supplanted, that shtick is still out there, and that that's how he got his super match with Gary Roberts. That they were arguing who was the worst arm wrestler in the world.
Truly, the worst arm wrestler of the world, Gary Roberts.
Right. Yeah.
You're gonna lose your title.
I know. I should just rip off my worst arm wrestler shirt and give it to him. No.
You should rip that shirt off and it should say "Best Arm Wrestler of the World."
Just
No,
not
he-
the worst.
And then you have to supermatch Robert Kelly for the womanizer.
Have you pulled Robert?
Robert Kelly?
No. Well, him and Gary Roberts.
Oh, Gary Roberts. No, Gary doesn't even know who I am that well.
Gotcha.
I don't know why. I mean, I thought Gary and me knew each other. I had met his son before,
Yeah.
but Gary doesn't know who I am.
He's a lot more experienced than I do, but I don't think he's been active in recent years. You know.
I mean, he very well could win. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say he can't. I take your side promotionally because I think you winning is better for the sport. But he's not a bad arm wrestler.
Right.
So to set the record straight, and you can flip this. I mean, Gary Roberts is a good arm wrestler. Like he
Yeah.
knows how to arm wrestle.
Right.
Has
Where I
fundamental
only
arm
I
wrestling
only have a
strength.
year in, just so
Yeah.
you know. Like
Yeah.
he may very well just sweep me.
I just prefer saying that you're going to win. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
prefer saying that it's not even a contest.
Right.
Because to me, that's more fun.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say realistically that Gary stands no chance.
Right.
because
Right.
Gary-
He definitely does.
Gary has arm wrestled for a dozen years.
Right.
He used to do just well against Derek Smith when Derek Smith was getting into the sport.
Yeah.
Gary's not a bad arm wrestler by any means.
No. And I'm not a great arm wrestler. So
Gary
it's-
would still lose
for
to
fun.
Sarah Bachman, though.
Yeah.
Let's set the record straight.
Yeah.
He is never beating Sarah Bachman, and that's a fact.
Well, the thing that gives me hope is seeing him get into a hook with some girls that are destroying him. And I'm like, all right, if I get him in a hook, I might be okay.
It depends the girl. If it was Gabby Vasconcelos, that's also fake news.
Well, yeah, she would
Gabby
destroy
will
me.
destroy him in the hook.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then the other thing that I'm not sure if you're aware of, just when you talk about the, our silent takeover, is the Gary Roberts and Ryan Grondin match. They were going to possibly cancel it, and we were like, they didn't bother telling Gary or Ryan. We got wind of it, and so essentially, word got out, and everybody started hammering the promoters that, what the hell are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. What are you talking about here? And eventually they not only relented, but basically called Ryan and said, basically call off the dogs, please. We're sick and tired of all
That was
these,
pretty funny. Yeah.
these comments coming in saying, what the hell are you people doing?
Well, that's when I realized I was like, dude,
That's
we
true
just.
power.
Well, that's what I said. I said we just made Travis Page and Paul Italia change their minds just from a little bit of trolling. You know what I mean? I was like, that's fucking awesome. But
I love
rallied.
those guys. Travis is my boy. Let
yeah,
the record show that Travis has really put me under his wings since I was very little.
that's good.
I've been paid by the WAL to do an event. I've gotten arm wrestling coaching for free from Travis at 14, 15. I mean, Travis has taught me how to run promotions. He's taught me how to succeed in life. Travis is my boy.
Yeah.
I have nothing bad to say about Travis, but I will say this. Cody Merritt is going to destroy Travis Bagent left-handed. Travis doesn't have a prayer. If Travis comes back to the sport and he's training every day, I do think it's a great match. I think this is one of the best matches we could ever get. However,
I hope he's training.
Cody is so incredibly strong that Travis has to come back and train the way he used to.
Yeah.
Cody's potentially the strongest left arm wrestler we've ever seen. We still need Cody to face Vitaly Lelectin and Levon and Krasny. Like, Cody needs to go pull Europeans. But when you look at his North American power, he's so much stronger than North America. It's not even funny. Like, our arm wrestlers can't compete. They just can't. They can't. I mean, some of the best left arms in North America were at King of Florida, and Cody destroyed them.
Yeah.
Well, and the heck of the thing
it's-
is how you get to know people and how they get to know you. Travis knows who I am, even though I've just barely been in the sport, and I have a absolutely wretched tournament record. Basically, because the fourth tournament I ever went to, I mean, it was one of his tournaments, and I managed to break my arm on a side table. And then when I came back after breaking the arm, it came back to one of his tournaments. Was the first one that was at the Hooters, by the way, which was kind of interesting. But in any event, so he was there when I left. He was there when I came back, and so, it's a hell of a thing to be remembered for, but whatever. It is what it is.
I mean, he has spoken highly of our 98 thing. So,
I mean, Travis loves everyone. He loves everything.
He's a good dude.
He's a good dude.
Yeah. Paul Italia, I've met him in person, and he's very different in person than he is with his online persona. He's like, he was more quiet, but I think he thinks, or at least at some point, he thought we were behind like some of the troll army guys, which we were not. So I think that kind of made him think like, oh, these guys are kind of assholes.
Nobody in arm wrestling has perfect PR. Like arm wrestler promoters have horrible PR. All of them. Yeah. I can't name you one arm wrestling promoter that has like 100% good PR. I think the arm wrestler that has the best PR in the world, and in my opinion is the best promoter of the world, is Bill Collins. But I'm also very biased. Bill's my boy. Right. But I will say this, Bill has amazing PR. He runs a very amazing events. And all he's ever had to do to get someone to come to an event is make a poster. Yeah. Bill Collins is the GOAT of arm wrestling promotions, in my opinion. And
I'm going to try that.
I don't think that's changing anytime soon.
So if I just make a flyer with you on it and like Devin or something, you guys will just show up.
Well, that's what Bill does. Bill doesn't reach out to people.
Right.
He used to not even do super matches at his events. Like for years, he pulled crazy numbers at the LA Fit Expo. And all you were coming for was the money. It's word of mouth. Like it just gets out.
Well, you made your match with Gary Roberts, Ryan, and the next day I made a flyer and it was official.
Yeah, well, that's actually what happened is Gary.
Flyers do make things official.
Gary was like, you're not the worst arm wrestler in the world. I am. So he's like, we have to have a match. And then Berger made a flyer as a joke and put it out there. And the next day I had a message from Gary and he goes, hey, Travis said we can put that match on. So keep putting that flyer out. And I was like, what the hell is this happening?
I really want to pull?
Who's that?
Cobra Rhodes.
Oh, that'd be good.
I want to prove that I can beat Cobra Rhodes before I become a super heavyweight. Because naturally, I'm still getting taller. I mean, I wasn't sleeping or eating much leading up to King of Cali. I would stay awake like 3 days at a time sometimes.
Yeah.
As soon as I started sleeping and eating, I grew like at least a centimeter in height. Could have just been spinal growth, but I think I'm approaching 5'11", and I graduated. And for a year after graduation, I was only about 5'9". So I'm still growing taller.
Yeah.
It's just becoming very hard to stay under 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And you are how old now?
21 years old. About
Jesus.
Is there
21, dude? Come on.
I was going to ask earlier, is there someone in the Northeast that, like I say, we occasionally bring someone in to pull, one of our locals that we are only expensive flying.
Is anyone up here on your radar?
Northeast that you would really.
I mean, if you get Cobra there for cheap, that's the guy I'd want to pull for the 98. Yeah. However, I'm open to pull tons of other people. I mean,
is anyone in our neck of the woods on your radar?
I'd rather pull one of your social media guys like Nico or one of those other guys that's really strong. Maybe ask Nico, maybe he knows someone that's really strong that I could pull that's big on his social media.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys know about him?
Oh yeah. He comes to our tournaments. Yeah.
He might be the guy to ask. I don't know enough about the pullers, and I see most of the guys that you guys have that are on his social media is like Toddzilla, Solomon, Brad Grundy. Like you guys have some really stout guys that I wouldn't stand a chance to.
Miguel,
yeah, Miguel Fernandez. I don't know. It's hard to say because like we don't know what level people are with pullers that have never pulled. You know what I mean? It's really hard to like.
Yeah.
Judge,
Frank
like, we
Hurd.
got like Merlot up here. We got like,
I would pull Merlot.
you
I
would?
would need time to train, but I would pull.
Yeah.
Merlot.
Dude, that'd be a fun match.
Oh, yeah. I
Because
would definitely.
he's
I mean,
coming
Frank
up
Hurd?
Merlot's
fast.
like one of the number one guys of the weight, and
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
I live for opportunities to pull the very best. So if I had a big hyped up thing to pull someone that I should not be pulling,
Yeah.
and the 98 would support me in doing it,
Yeah.
I will gladly do it, and I will try to win.
That'd be cool. That's a fun match.
See if I can create an upset.
Because Merlot has actually reached out to us because, you know, we found a lot of matches or sponsored a lot of
If you
matches
tell
for
him
Brandon.
he has to pull me, he might be upset, but definitely ask him, because a lot of people who are really serious about the sport don't want to pull someone that isn't
Right.
ranked ahead of them, you know?
Yeah. Like Brandon Elsesser. You know, like we got him the match against Aiello and Paul Passmore and the Jordan Sill one.
Yeah.
Well, so other guys in our local area have seen that. And so like Merlot was like, hey, you know, can you guys get me a match? Like, absolutely, dude. I actually reached out to him at one point too and said, hey, would you want us to get you some matches, you know? And
What I think you guys will have an easier time doing, there's about a dozen or so people who want to super match me right now just because of social media.
yeah,
And I don't have a huge social media. It's just the fact that other popular social media people know who I am, right? It's
Yeah.
it's like not having clout yourself, but having people that know you.
right.
I think because I woke up the day of where I got sponsored, I had like 10 DMs, people trying to challenge me. And I was like, whoa, what's even happening? I look on Facebook and like things are just getting crazy.
Yeah.
If you put up a post saying someone who would fly themselves out to come pull me, you might get some traction on that.
Yeah.
But I would rather pull Cobra Rhodes than anyone else.
Yeah.
I need stuff that, because for me, there are matches that I personally want to have and stuff that's marketable to me
Yeah.
that I could use to push my career forward.
Yeah.
Not from a ranking standpoint, because I could care less about the rankings. I just want to pull the top ranked, and then I also want to pull people that are going to push me forward in the public eye.
Absolutely.
I'd be honored to pull Cobra. I think Cobra is, one of the goats of arm wrestling. I would love to arm wrestle him and say that I beat the person who had a long time rivalry with Alan Fisher.
I don't know if you do this, but I just email people and I'm like, hey, what would it take to get you to come to our tournament? Like, what are your requirements, basically? And they'll usually be like flight, hotel, and this much.
Yeah,
And
some
then
some arm wrestlers are quite cheap too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're just dying to come pull.
Yeah. Like, I was surprised.
Depends,
I reached
right?
out to Matt Mask, and he was a lot cheaper than I thought he was going to be. And I was like, wow, that actually would be pretty cool, because he doesn't really come down and like travel the states like Devin does and other, Michael Todd and stuff.
That would be really cool. You should do Matt Mass, Chance Shaw.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Chance has said he would come up and he told me his requirements. He actually didn't ask for any money. He just said, cover my flight and hotel.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty cool of him to do that.
I'm the same. I don't need money.
Yeah.
I'm only taking the money because it was offered to me
Right.
as a winner bonus for this upcoming event.
Yeah.
Personally, I live for opportunity. Any person who wants to give me an opportunity to better myself is good.
Yeah.
Chance is the same way. I think Matt Mass or Marcio Barboza would be a great 98 event.
Yeah. Marcio would do it.
Marcio and Chance would be good.
Yeah. But I talked to Marcio about this after the Chance and John match. And he was like, dude, a lot of people are already approaching both of them about that match. So it's like,
They are.
you know what I mean? So it's hard to be like, why is he going to choose us over someone who's going to throw a ton of money and put him on State Kings? And you know what I mean? It's kind of,
just do a deadline. See if you
Yeah.
can do it.
yeah. I mean, if we can get in first, that's the way we have to.
I'm not
do it,
Chance's
but-
manager, so I can't
Yeah.
answer questions like that. But
Right.
what I can tell you is that Chance would be willing to pull. You just have to
Set it up.
set something up cool for him.
Yeah.
He's
Which we
not gonna
would.
Yeah. I mean, Brandon Asselsor and Chance might be cool, but I feel like certain guys they're not going to mean as much to Chance, right?
Right.
And if he's only coming for a flight and hotel,
Yeah.
it should be someone who he truly wants to pull.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's how we look at it. And plus, we get a lot of shade thrown at us because we're 98. When we do have someone who's in the 2% come to our tournament, they're like, oh, you're a sellout. And I'm like, listen, I look at it as
you're promoting.
I look at it too as our guys now can be on an undercard that they normally would never be on.
Yes.
And that's what makes it fun for our 98 guys, you know?
That's what makes it special.
Yeah. Because they'll have that memory forever. Like, oh, I was on a card with Paul Passmore, Mike Aiello, and Brandon Elsesser, you know, and when would they ever get a chance to be like Dave Schell, for instance, here? He got to be on a card like that, you know, like when would we ever get to be on a card like that without it being something like this, you know?
Yeah, and what's remarkable about the whole thing is where we get, you know, like you say, you can never make everybody happy because on one hand, you get the people that are going, oh, why are you bringing these 2% in? And on the other hand, you get people like, why the hell would anybody want to watch Dave Schell, you know, or who would want to watch Dave Schell, you know, pull? And of course, which the answer is people that know Dave Schell, thank you. But
what's your arm wrestling nickname, Dave?
Professor.
Professor. Yeah, that's all you have to say.
Yep.
Professor, Doc Ock, whatever you want to say. You can pull anyone and you can make it hype.
And he went against someone whose nickname is Clown Pants.
Yeah, I went 1 and 2 with Clown Pants and 2 and 1 with another. I don't know what his.
To me,
Lungy boy.
Here's why the Dave Schell. A lot of people gave me crap about having Dave do a super match. Dave went against 2 different guys, left hand and right hand, who lived 6 hours away, and because they had a super match at our tournament, they came with a carload of like 6 people, which to me is awesome. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't have come otherwise because it's kind of a far drive, but because they had a super match, they all came. So to me, that's like priceless, you know, like strategically planning matches to draw a crowd in from further out to me is gold, you know?
Yeah. And there's funny stuff you can do to promote too. Like I told Niles Anderson the other day, the losers should have to dye their hair pink after the event.
Yeah.
And he agreed to it because Niles just wants to be on the card.
Right.
I agreed to pull Matt Craig so that Niles could be on the card.
Yeah.
So that, for one, I get 2 super matches now on a huge event, and it gives Niles the opportunity to compete on the card.
Yeah.
And he's fully sponsored by his people to come compete as well.
That's funny.
So it's a great opportunity for both of us to prove ourselves on one of the biggest cards of North America.
Dude,
and the loser is going to dye his hair pink, and that's going to be memorable.
That
We're never going to forget that.
Josh Berger here.
Yeah.
So whoever knocks him out of the tournament at our next tournament gets to pick where he gets a 98% tattoo, which is perfect. Like, you know, he's going to have like a tramp stamp or something retarded, but I don't care because that's awesome promotion, you know? And that's great of him to offer that. Maybe, you know, his girlfriend may not agree, but
I was joking with David. I didn't agree to it. I said I'd need a lot of time to think it over.
Yeah.
But the idea of me getting the arm wrestling uncensored tattoo.
Yeah.
We were joking around. I said, I'm not going to agree to that.
98?
And then the next 98. And the next thing I know, he makes a Facebook post saying Kyle DePew's going to get the arm wrestling uncensored tattoo.
Now you have to.
It's
If we reach
official
this
now.
amount of money, no, I definitely couldn't do it at that point because everyone got angry at David. People were furious. You had Dallas Langston, Derek Smith. Everyone hit the thread on that and said, "No way."
That's crazy.
They're like, "We're not going to let that happen."
Yeah, you're too young to ruin your body.
Oh man, it's great.
Oh man.
But David has done a lot for me. He's been a great friend, and even though we were just joking, I mean, there's very few leads I would get a tattoo for, but David's a good friend.
Yeah.
If it was ever down the road,
Yeah.
I might consider it, you know?
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, he's been cool. And his group is similar to ours, like the way that he's going about things.
Yeah, they're basically the same. One was like a podcast, Zoom interviews, and the other was a Facebook group, you know?
Yeah.
because not to say you guys don't have a Facebook group, but it's not the draw.
Yeah, no,
You know?
definitely not.
Yeah, my younger brother has power of attorney for the advanced medical directive, and I've made it clear to him if I ever get a tattoo, he's supposed to have me examined for dementia.
Come on, Dave. You look, get a 98% tattoo, Dave. Or a piercing. Get your nipples pierced.
Yeah, there we go. That's what needs to happen. The nipple.
No, but little things like that just make the event more fun. You know what I mean?
They do.
Yeah. And my brother happens to be a tattoo artist, so he's going to do the tattoo on site at the event, which is even better. But yeah, so I'll definitely link, any links you want on the YouTube video, just send them to me.
The GoFundMe. I'd rather not plug my YouTube. I'd rather just plug the GoFundMe.
Okay.
It's very important to me that I raise that money.
Yeah.
It looks good on me, and it's a great cause.
Absolutely.
It's an opportunity for me to prove myself promotionally.
Yeah. And we'll promote it for you too.
Money I raise for kids with special needs is only good for me as well. Like when you look at something that's good for the community that you're supporting, it could also be good for you in a business sense, right? Because it's proving accountability, it's proving ability of all type, right? Your ability to promote, your ability to raise and crowdfund. It's a good resume builder, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And if
I care dearly about, raising money for kids. That's actually the thing I care most about. So the fact that I, in 8 days, had the opportunity to raise money for this event when I wasn't even going to be there.
Right.
Moments like that don't happen often. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
I plan to do the most with it.
Yeah, we'll help you as much as we can and get all our guys, donating and put it out there and whatever we can do, man.
I'd love if we hit $1,000 before the actual event. I do think we'll get at least 1,000 on the live stream. However, I think you double whatever you can get before, personally.
Yeah.
In my head, that's what makes most sense. So
yeah, and I would love it if other people in the United States would use our network for things like that. Like, just hit us up and we'll promote it. And if we can help promote something and get some money donated, like, why not? You're
the first people I've hit up.
That's awesome.
Right.
So
we'll do what we can, man.
As of right now, this is the only live or the only pod that I have planned to go on. I'm going to try to go on a lot in the next 2 days, but I mean, this is it for tonight. This is probably it. So
cool, man.
I appreciate you guys having me on, and
thanks for coming.
Promote the GoFundMe, because
it's
really important to me. It means a lot to me, guys.
Because you're the first one that reached out to us like you did for the King of Cali thing, and like that's what we want to be used for. Like
those shirts looked great. I wish I took a picture.
Oh, thanks.
They looked great on the raffle table. We had a raffle table. We had over 90 prizes to give out on the raffle table, all really stellar prizes.
Yeah.
And we had gone over $1,000 in raffle ticket money. Tons of people wanted to buy raffle tickets right before we did it. I said no, because we had too many people that were angry that wanted to just get their stuff, because they had waited so long.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're running the raffle now. The raffle took forever. You would not believe an 80 or 90 item raffle.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's winning. Everyone gets something.
Right. Yeah.
Where I started doing, like, towards the end, I was like, all right, we have to give more than just one prize out at a time.
Right.
Just come up to the table, grab 3 things. I mean, like, almost every kid won. Kids would come up to the table and be like, is this the number? And I'm like, that's the number. Good job. You won. We were just trying to run through that raffle.
Right.
It was beautiful. I loved every minute of King of Cali. It was the greatest day of my life. And I am so honored that I had the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, that looked awesome. It was cool too, seeing like Roger and Hobbs wearing our shirts, dude. Like that at someone else's event. It was just like, and we live streamed it at our tournament. So we were watching it while our tournament was going on, which was really cool.
If I didn't have so much going on, I would have definitely had someone wearing the shirt, or I would have wore the shirt. But it was a busy day.
Yeah.
Like things were crazy. I just gave things away in the raffle. As of right now, I don't have a 98 shirt.
Oh, well, we can fix that.
I gave them all away.
Yeah, we can fix that.
I regret
we'll
giving
get
them
you
all
one.
away. I wish I had one.
We'll get one to you.
Yeah.
We'll get one to you.
I definitely like having stuff like that so that I can help promote.
Yeah.
Because it's fun. I enjoy promoting. I mean, the only reason I promote arm wrestling is because I get a good kick out of it.
Yeah,
it brings
it is fun.
A lot of hype and excitement to my life.
Absolutely, it's fun for sure.
2-part question. First part: what size do you wear?
Large, XL.
Okay, well, large or XL. I mean, XL are one more popular. The pull shirt, what I call the pull shirt, the eat, sleep, pull, whatever. We are out of large. We do have extra large, or if you wish, we do have large in a tank top. If you want to, really, get on the, the flexing routine, and yeah, we can send you a tank top. So it's just a question whether you're going to have a shirt or a tank top.
I'll do tank top. I think tank top would
Very
probably
well.
be good. It's pretty hot here, even in the winter. I mean, it's going to get really cold. However, I can still wear a tank top when I work out and stuff.
Okay, well, Ryan, you still have his address?
I could send it again.
Yes, it's somewhere in my messages.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've talked a lot since then.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I don't like about Facebook Messenger is that you can't just type a word and then get it.
No.
On iMessage, that's all I do.
Yeah.
For my notepad on my phone and for my iMessenger, I type words and find them.
Right.
You can do that in Messenger.
I've never learned how to do it. I'll have to.
It just act like you're going to scroll up through your messages, and at the top it'll say search.
Okay. Now,
but you got to start. You have to start scrolling to access the search button.
I am unstoppable now.
Now
I will go find all the information I need.
You are unlocked.
That's hilarious.
Well, what you do is we are friended on Facebook, so send me your address on Messenger, and there will be a large tank top winging its way towards you with our pump.
Sounds good. I'll get on that.
Well, thanks. I'm going to stop the recording so that we're not recording us talking about
Sounds good.
t-shirts.
98.